everybody, welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you up front how this video is gonna go. We're gonna talk. It's what this video is gonna do, but we're gonna talk good stuff, so you don't gotta exit out right away. But if you're looking for an action-packed video on this car, this is not it. We're gonna talk about the damage I've done to this car when I blew it up, what happened. I am gonna tell you how much I paid to get this thing fixed, and I'm gonna show you some of the damage. So if you're new to the channel and you just jumped on, like I did have a guy that I've become friends with, he had no clue this thing ran. This car has already ran prior to the past couple weeks. This car has already been to TKM's dyno. It's already been on the dyno, and we've already blew this car up. I have owned this car for 5 years. This has been 5 years of my life sitting right here. It has spent 5 Christmases with us. We bought this before we bought our house, and it went through the big hurricane that was here in North Carolina, where everything was historical flooding and a lot of people lost their homes. It was green at that time, completely stock, untouched, and it was inside my business, safe and sound. This car started its life out with me as a show car. It had sound deadening material in it. AC was completely redone. All AC ducts, the heater box was completely redone, and it was wired using a painless harness that I did myself. I originally wired this car. I later have cut that harness out, and I have rewired the car myself twice, and then I paid Chris Moore to do the final wiring on it, which is where, again, I got rid of everything for the 3rd time and switched it to the race wiring that it is now with the Procharged Coyote and everything, because before it was a street car. This car originally bought a 351 Windsor for it, took the Windsor to a local engine builder, and we were going 408 stroker. He did not get started on a timely manner. I had some other personal issues that I did not like with the engine builder, and I'm not gonna put his name or put him on blast out there with. I picked my 351 Windsor up that he had outside of his shop, and I then acquired the Coyote. That's just a little backstory on this car. 5 years of my life sitting right here. We've blowed it up once. I'm about $30,000 into this Coyote that's sitting right here. I kept up with every receipt down to the nut and bolts to this car. Up to $60,000 is when I stopped keeping track of the receipts. I personally did not keep track of the receipts. The wife did, so I know them comments are coming. Sometimes people joke about it, say don't let the wife know. I had no clue what was in the car. Told the wife that I was about $20,000 in the car is what I thought when she started adding receipts up to my request. This was done during business hours at our shop. I asked her to add all my receipts up. And at that time, I think we were 32,000 or something. This was a couple years ago. This was before the Coyote. We even had the Coyote. It's what I was in: wheels, suspension, paint, like all the stuff that we started with. I have funneled a crap ton of money into this car, but I have also made a lot of money back. So just like y'all know, if you spend $2,000 on a set of rims, then you change rims later, you're probably gonna sell the rims for $1,500 or $1,000. So you get some of that money back. But I have funneled a ton of money into this car. I have pretty much got no return on the actual Coyote. I've spent about 30 grand on it. The very first time I went to TKM to get the machining done and the car actually put together, my bill was over 8,000, I think. Yes, it was over 8,000. It was under 9,000, somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000 for the very first time. That was machine work and assembly. I supplied all the parts. TKM Top Fuel hooped it. They sleeved it. They did the main support. So basically they take the water jackets and the heads, they weld them solid, or the block. Yes, in the block. They weld them solid, and then Kevin, they drill them. So instead of running actual block supports, which is what I brought TKM for the Coyote, you could put block supports in, but instead of doing that, they changed plans and welded them solid shut and drilled them. So the cylinder walls are supported. They're also sleeved, so it's even more support, and they're top fueled hooped. Now, when we took it back to TKM this time after we blew it up, we also added O-rings to the exhaust. So as you have seen when we put this one back together, is we did O-ring the exhaust. So the exhaust has O-rings. The cams in this motor are Pistons and lockouts are all L&M race engines. So L&M race engines spec the cams, they spec the Pistons. They supplied the springs, they supplied the rings, They supplied all that the first go around. The second go around, when we blew it up, the cams stayed in there. So it has original cams. They didn't get no damage. And we messed up all but one, or no, we only messed up one piston. So I reordered it from L&M Race Engines. TKM could have supplied me a whole new set of pistons. I think it was about $1,500, somewhere in that ballpark. Or it was order one from L&M, a replacement exact one to what I already have. For I think it was like 300 and some change. I went over these numbers in previous videos after we blew it up when we were taking care of ordering the parts, if you want to go back and look at them videos. So I decided I couldn't afford to spend the $1,500 on switching up 8 pistons and then having 7 good pistons. Then instead I would wait, and I think it was like 3 weeks, and have my one damaged one replaced with the exact same one custom ordered. And that's what put me behind. So I actually had to pull this motor out of TKM's lineup and put it off to the side, get my piston situation under control, and then I had to jump back in line. So that's why it took a little longer than probably it should have, because of me, my fault. TKM was rocking and rolling right out the gate. They had me rolling, and then we hit the hiccup with the pistons. So kind of just want to give a little backstory, because I know I have a lot of new subscribers here that don't even know the backstory to this car at all. It was supposed to be a show car. It was never intended to be a race car. Then it was supposed to be a street car. I still consider it a street car. I don't want a race car. I understand that it pretty much is a race car. I acknowledge that, okay? But I don't want to go fast every single weekend, if that makes sense to some of y'all. I want to be able to crank this thing up 8 a.m. on a Friday morning and not have to do nothing too crazy. Let it get a little bit of heat into it. Drive it to work. We're open 8 to 11 on Fridays. And then drive it back home when the weather's nice. I like to be able to, me and the wife, take it to maybe Sonic, a drive-in like dinner, or a dinner where I can see the car in the parking lot, and cruise it through Wilmington like that, like just there and back without hopefully getting the tickets, because it's open headers and all that. So it is going to be a little more difficult to street drive it, because of if you're on slicks, some cops don't like that. If it was on radials, it's not that big of a deal. The open headers, some cops don't like that. Parachute's going to attract a lot of attention, but it does have tags. So the car is currently registered, tagged, a whole 9 yards. So it's a street car. But if we're being realistic, it's going to be hard to street it too much because of what the car has grown into. I'm not rich. I've shared on this channel numerous times how I afford this car, and you can afford this car the exact same way that I have shared with you on how I do this. This car is 100%, if you don't know and you're new to the channel, funded by itself. Not a penny comes from my income, 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 11 on Friday. Not a penny comes from the money my employee makes from my business. Not a penny comes from my business, period, at all, to build this car. My business has a bank account. We have a personal bank account just like anybody else does that owns a business. This car has its own bank account that is separate from my business and my personal life. This car has its own debit card that is linked to that bank account. This car has 2 dedicated credit cards that are primarily, one is only used for this car. The second one is primarily used for this car, but we do use it for some other stuff every now and then. That's the finances to the car pretty much. Like I said, I went over how I pay for this car. I went over how the finances work, but I don't take a penny from my wife, my kids, my income, or nothing. This car is completely separate. So what we're gonna talk about tonight, went with Turbo John today racing. My legs hurt. He didn't have the smart car. We didn't have my golf cart. We didn't have a push car. So me and Randy had to do a ton of walking. My legs are hurting. My back is hurting. I'm tired. But I decided instead of laying in bed that I'll come out and give y'all the video that y'all have wanted and been waiting for, which is what's inside that box from TKM and what these heads look like on the inside. We have not showed this yet on this channel. And again, I'm gonna show you what was done to this motor and what I paid for it. So this video is gonna be long, but this is the video that's gonna explain everything. This is the one. Stick with me if you're interested. If you're not, give it a thumbs up and exit out of it out of respect. At least you gave it a thumbs up for cutting it short, and I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you stick around for the dyno video and all that. Let's flip the camera around and let's dive right into the good stuff. Okay, now I'm not the smartest or the most mechanically inclined. So as we go through all this, bear with me. You're more than welcome to comment in the comment section to correct me on anything that I'm wrong on. But I'm just trying to honestly just show y'all what I had been provided with. This is the reason why I pay TKM to do my stuff, is because I don't know what I'm doing. So if you're not familiar, when we originally blew the car up, you can go back. There's 3 videos on this. I starved this Coyote for oil by hooking my oil lines up wrong. 3 videos when we went to the dyno explains every freaking thing in humongous detail. So I don't want to waste too many people's time. Go back and look at the videos. So we're going to start with the heads. These are the heads off the car. They were deemed unusable unless we did billet main caps. I was instructed that we can do billet main caps on these and use these heads, but financially it didn't make tons of sense because I bought a used set of heads for $400, I think it was. I also disclosed that on the channel. So I bought these set of heads, but then they did have to have head work on them, and we'll go over that in a minute on the paperwork. But the original heads that come off the car, as you can see right here, okay, there is some of the damage that was done to them. So that is where I'm guessing, bear with me, I'm not super mechanically inclined, the bearings did not have motor oil. Where I starved this engine for oil is, I'm pretty sure, what happened here on these heads. So you can see all of this nasty expensive stuff. I should probably get the, if I'm gonna use this as a pointer, I should probably clean it off, right? So we're not looking at dangling 1-minute gasket maker. So pretty much that's the story on all these journals. These are bearing journals, I think that's what they're called, is the scarring that's inside here. Is they're pretty tore up. They're pretty gnarly. This is the reason why I bought another set of heads instead of using these. Some of these don't look as bad, but then some of them, you know, look pretty freaking bad as far as scarring. So these heads got tore up, all of them, both sets. That's what happened to the heads. Now these were not O-ringed on the exhaust side, so these were just regular. These are not ported, these are not polished, nothing like this. This is a factory Coyote head. If we take these, we flip them up. I also have already showed pictures of this. If you were in the videos in the past, you've already actually seen pictures of these heads, but I'm actually, you know, figured I'd go over this, you know, actually photograph or the actual video with you now that I have these in my possessions and not just pictures. So the bottoms look fine, nothing funny that went on down there. Same story I think is going to be with this one. These things are heavy, man. But these have been stripped of everything that was in them. So these are pretty much trash unless we put billet caps in them, from what I'm being told. Again, I'm just going off what I'm told. I'm not a machine guy, and I'm not mechanically inclined very much at all. That's my heads. All right, well, this box I have not really dug through, but we are going to dig through it now on the channel. We also have another box down here. As you can see, I've not even opened this box. So we're gonna cut this thing open and look at these together. Don't think there's nothing wrong at all with these. These are gonna be for sale. I'm actually gonna list them. These are my rods that we took out of here and we upgraded. So this was what was in the motor when we blew it up. Okay, there they are. I think everything was honestly good on these, from what the notes say inside my paperwork. Nothing wrong with them. It's just I was told that the H-beams, they were not comfortable with the H-beams past about 800,000 horse, that they were very uncomfortable with them past there. And they really didn't want to take the motor to 1,000 on these. At the time when I originally had these built, or I had this motor built, I couldn't afford to upgrade rods, as these were brand spanking new when I had the motor built. And I had just bought them because this is the research that I did. All of them are in here. None of them were bent, none of them were damaged, but this was research I did for good rods for the Coyote. And I guess they are good rods up to 800. It's just not the power level that we're at, or we're building for now. Like I said, this car has progressed and grown way more than it was supposed to. It was never supposed to be to this level. I was very happy with possibly getting 600 out of a 351 Winsler originally, a 408 stroker. and it has turned into this. You fastly realize that that's not enough power to be competitive, so you're gonna have to get 1,000. So them are my rods, my original rods. They're gonna be for sale. There's nothing wrong with them. There was no damage to the rods. It's just we upgraded. So if we dive into here, we're gonna go through this box. These are gonna be the used, what is that? I guess your cam phasers and everything, chains, all of that. So these are gonna be out of the heads that are on the car now, the junkyard heads. So I bought them as used. So these are gonna be the takeouts that were taken out because my stuff is all locked out. So that's all these are, is just a set of good ones. So these are, not even gonna lie, I don't know the technical term for these at all. I'm sure y'all do. I don't. I'm not mechanically inclined. I can say that 100,000 times. That's the reason why I paid TKM to build my motor, and that's the reason why I did not build my motor. I do know that these are gonna be all my rings, so I was not aware that when you blow a motor up, you don't reuse the rings. I'm guessing I was kind of explained that it could have made contact with the cylinder walls. Whatever the technical stuff is, but I had to buy all new rings. I don't think there's nothing wrong with these rings. I really don't. You can leave in the comment below if you think I could sell these. Yeah, I really don't. So I know that, you know, if obviously it nicked something, it could damage the ring. I guess I could take each one of these out the package and inspect them really closely and make sure there's no nicks or anything in them, is what I'm thinking. What I'm kind of, my thoughts would be on selling a set of rings for a Coyote. I don't 100% know if these are upgraded or factory. I really don't. I have to look back in my notes on my invoice and see what was put into this motor. I gave TKM a permission to do a bunch of stuff on their own, pretty much, whatever we need, because I just don't want to make the wrong calls. So I don't know what these little guys are for. They're going to be for something inside there. Imagine these are obviously going to be strainers. Looks like for oil pickup, so you don't get trash into something. But I don't know what it is. I don't try to pretend I know what I'm doing or anything. I pay the professionals to do what I don't know how to do. I'm pretty sure, I believe this is a thrust bearing. Again, that could be completely wrong. Bear with me, guys. I'm not mechanically inclined. I will keep saying that. But I can tell you that I'm pretty sure this thing is supposed to be gold all over and not silver where it's at. I'm pretty sure there's not supposed to be scarring in here. There will be some wear on all bearings, of course, but I think that is more scarring than there's supposed to be. I think this is how it's supposed to look. Pretty sure this is how it's supposed to look. Oops. And then this is how the other side looks. So this would be your damaged side, I'm assuming. Again, this is why I pay somebody. And I do know that this should not look like this. That should, again, I know enough that it shouldn't have scarring all over it. This side looks a lot better, but I don't know why the dark spots are there. I imagine that's heat buildup. It does look like there's a ton of scarring right there. There's heat buildup on that side, I imagine. And then these are gonna be all of my bearings that they have took the time to number. So all of them, honestly, to me, don't look terrible. But again, I'm not a bearing person. I don't know if we're supposed to be checking the other side. They look like they have lube on them, like that white stuff. I don't want to untape them because I don't want them to get mixed up for whatever reason, if I need to use them or if I sell them or somebody needs them on the channel. I don't know. I don't know what this stuff is usable and what of this stuff is absolute trash. These larger bearings, don't think they're supposed to have that scarring again on them. That one looks pretty tore up right there. I do know a lot of this is going to be in the notes that we're going to see here in a minute. TKM has took the time to document everything. One thing that I did not discuss with TKM, this is a factory piece taken off, is I did not discuss the old squirters this time. So I do have a set of MMR oil squirters. I bought these for my motor originally before I found TKM. I was collecting parts just like many of us do. And I ordered these and I brought them to them. They prefer, as a lot of people prefer, to drill and tap the oil squirters. Or tap them, I guess, not drill. I'm not sure how you would say that correctly. So that one, pardon me y'all with the cameras being jerky around, that was definitely either hit with a tool or with when the motor come apart. Probably when the motor come apart. I think the reason why they don't prefer to use these is stuff like this. You can see that rubber on that O-ring. So obviously if that O-ring lets go, then you pretty much lose your seal, is what common sense would tell me. So here's the one that the bolt head, looks like it's either got to cut through it or it was hit across the top. I mean, maybe, I don't know where they're located at, but when the chain let go, it could have went across the top of it. I do know TKM does really high-end work, and they are very careful. They're not sloppy by any means. They're extremely high-end professional. I advise them. I recommend them big time. I have nothing bad to say about them. Yeah, maybe y'all would know more than me on these items, but these were taken out and the motor was tapped. So my oil squirters in this Coyote block have been tapped. Now they no longer have these. I will be posting these for sale either on eBay, I gotta look up the price, or my email is in the description. If you'd like a set at a discounted price, let me know. We'll go for the Pistons to wake y'all back up, anybody that's fell asleep. If you're still with me this far into the video, I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully some of y'all that are mechanically inclined that actually wondered on the mechanic side of this, what happened. So I don't know what information's on my piston stuff. I don't know if I guess I really don't care about sharing it. I don't know what specs I want to share, what specs I don't want to share. I'm pretty transparent on everything. Single piston, L&M race engines. That's who I got it for. Let's see if there's a receipt. That's a pick list. Sales and return policies. Let me see what this is. Yeah, that's got some, I guess I'll just share it all. Bore, stroke, compression height, rod length. Yeah. So if any of y'all are smarter than me, which don't take much to be smarter than me, you probably understand all that. Here's my damaged piston. I need to actually put this up on my shelf as a memory. There's the damage that we done. Trying to get it, I got my phone light on. See if I can cut that off. See if that makes it a little better. We'll go over here into the light. So there's what the side of the piston looks like. I know that is not good. We're definitely gonna put this on the shelf to remind me of hard times, stressful times, emotional times, and what 5 years of work and money go down the drain looks like. That was the top of it. Yeah. That was rough when we let go. I don't think I have none of the old chains, I don't know. Not sure what this is. So it looks like a ring. Yep. Not sure why it was not used. I'm guessing I got a whole set of rings and they were changed out, I'm guessing, instead of just utilizing this one. I guess a whole set was changed out. Yep. That's the piston. Like I said again, y'all, there's no reason to be commenting, calling me an idiot or a dummy or anything like that might come along, because I'm telling you up front, I'm not trying to pretend to know something I don't know. I'm just sharing with my viewers what y'all have wanted to see. All right, so obviously these are valves, other little tiny delicate parts, probably for the heads, springs, retainers. So all of these are going to be out of the junkyard heads. So I do have upgraded springs. These are not the springs I run. So these are factory springs. So all this stuff's probably gonna go on eBay for sale for other people that might just need one valve or, you know, one spring or something like that. I will inventory how many I got and list them for sale. So one's gonna be an intake, one's gonna be exhaust. I think I know that much. Could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. Not sure which one's the intake, not sure which one's the exhaust. But I'm gonna have to figure that out. If the smaller one's intake or exhaust. I don't really know. Looks like there's ones dotted red on the ends and ones that are not dotted. I'll figure it out whenever it's time to post them for sale on eBay, just in case anybody can use them. Let's keep her moving. So there's no reason to open these up. These are literally just boxes TKM had laying around, I'm sure, that they put my 2 factory exhaust and 2 factory intake cams in, that were in the junkyard heads in here to protect. So I did have somebody that needed all of the cams and the phasers, and they didn't show. I had told that guy I would do $250 on all of that because these are factory F-150 50 parts. So if you need anything up here, email's in the description. Send me a message. Besides that, I think my eBay store is CRC Autobody, I think is the name of it, and I'm going to be listing any parts that I figure out that are usable, and also putting on Facebook Marketplace, like my rods and stuff. I got to look up what they were worth because there's no damage done to them that I'm aware of. So we'll come over here to the computer now, and we're going to go down the list quickly. You can pause on any areas that may interest you or that you want to see. So these are the 3 jobs. This is your My Shop with TKM. So when you get a job done by them, you can track the progress in here. So this was the very first job that we had done, the Coyote sleeved Procharger. We will go through this one really quick in case anybody's new, because I've actually never showed this on this channel, I don't think. So there's the bore, deck supports, let's see here, O-rings. So that's gonna be the top, yeah, O-ring block only. That was the top fuel hoops. CNC install sleeves. Hopefully this shows up. We'll do it like that. Again, you'll have to pause it if there's anything you actually want to see. Customers, ARP, main studs, main bearings. I supplied all that ARP stuff out the gate. I supplied a lot of stuff. There's the balance. We're not gonna go through the pictures. I'm not trying to make this thing super long, polished to crank. Again, this was all the first build, whatever, before we blew it up. Deburr block, wash, clean heads and inspect them, contact customers about guides. So you can see the dates on this stuff. 6/10/2021 is when they originally had this block, when they were putting it together. Wash heads, soda blast heads, R&I guides, blast resurface valves, valve job, surface to heads. Used factory retainers. They were strong enough for spring and power levels, because I did supply retainers and they did not fit properly. They come from L&M race engine, and I never returned them. Something I just never spoke to them about, honestly. Completely on me. I should have pursued that. Assemble using customer supplied springs and retainers. Will be factory height. So that's what before they figured out that the retainers, aftermarket retainers I had, didn't work. But TKM ruled that the factory retainers are plenty fine for that. We did double key the hub. Double keyed the crank to fit the hub. I did buy a hub from them. I did supply my own oil pan, gaskets, all of that stuff. I supplied the pistons, cymbal short block. Rods were provided by the customers, rod bearing clearance, loosen all rods. I mean, dude, we did a ton. Install MMR squirter block offs with O-rings. Sammy filed the pistons, or the rings, I'm sorry. L&M lockout kit provided is a fixed lockout kit with no adjustments. Also, L&M cams had no cam card with ICL information. Not sure what ICL information means. Like I said, this was the first time this motor was put together. So we did put in the kinetic dampener stud to help strengthen up the crank. Installed damper torque to spec. Sorry, my brain got ahead of my mouth. MMR timing guides, we got rid of them on the second one. TKM does not like the MMR timing guides. So there's a lot of stuff there to unpack. Boundary old pump gears, billet timing sprockets, lockouts, head gaskets. This is where Skinny checked everything in on when I first originally dropped it off. We were expecting 1,200 when I first dropped it off. We are now, I think we're safely at 1,200 now is where we're at. Probably surpass it from what I have been told. There's all the stuff I supplied originally. And there's authorizations where I authorized all the work. So that was the first time. We ran through that quickly. We're gonna try to run through the second one quickly. Again, you can, this is TKM Holly. This is where I ordered. We'll go ahead and show you that real fast. So Holly, you can call up TKM and order everything. So I ordered all of this through TKM. All of my Holly sensors, my coil drivers, the Coyote main harness. Here's all the part numbers for everything. If any of this is used to you or useful to you, again, you can screenshot it. I literally had TKM handle everything on this. I believe in keeping everything in-house in one place. And that way, if there's an issue, they can go back to these work orders and they know what they did to it. They know what I paid for and all that. So this is the most recent work. You can see the date, 10/6/2022. Old pump gears show like scarring. Housing looks good. So again, I'm not going to read all of these. We've actually already did the video pretty much as this stuff come up. We went over everything. You're more than welcome to pause it and read it. I just kind of wanted to show everything. So as you can see right there, it says delete the task. We're not using these rods. So these are going to be the rods that come out of the motor. These ones say they're out of round, but I believe from what I'm putting together that they are still perfectly fine, like as in usable, that they're not demolished. If you have a second say so any of that, comment below, point me in the right direction, help me out. I greatly appreciate all y'all's help and everything. Greatly appreciate it. You don't understand what it means to me. So right there, that one is bad. So that was the bad piston, is on number 1. Ordered new pistons. And they were getting all coated. So you can see right there, all of my pistons got sent out to be coated. All 4 cams are good and reusable per mark. So again, inspecting heads. Where did my cursor go? Sometimes I'm looking through the phone and I can't find on screen where the cursor's at. All intake ports on left head would not pull vacuum. All intake valves on left head are bent. So it looks like the left head got its clock cleaned. Looked like it got beat up. So there's all the valves. Disassemble heads. So I'm pretty sure these are the junkyard heads I supplied. We'll need valves. Yep, so I'm pretty sure these are the junkyard ones, which the junkyard heads did have to end up having to work. So I'm extremely disappointed also in that that decision. TKM did call me and say, hey, look, the heads are damaged. We can sell you, I don't want to put the price out there because it was a deal. We can sell you a set of Gen 2 heads, which are an upgrade on the Gen 1 block for X amount of money, or you can put caps in these, or you can just replace these heads. I needed to save every dollar I could, so I actually, like I said, was able to track down the heads for I think $400. I think I included that in a past video. But then the problem was, by the time they got TKM, I paid them to take apart these heads. I did not understand that going into it. So I think I paid, I don't want to put the number out. I really don't. I don't know how many numbers I should put out. We're going to put the grand total out, but I don't know. I just don't want somebody taking my prices and comparing to anybody else. I don't think I got a break on anything. I don't think I got helped out in any way, shape, or form. I was not told I got helped out in any way, shape, or form. But I know as a business owner, prices change and stuff like that. So I don't want to put down the itemized stuff out. But by the time I bought the heads, paid to get the heads broke down, because of course you pay a shop for all the work they do. So I had to pay to get the heads taken apart. And then I think the heads had to have a little bit of work done to them. Just your normal stuff that you probably do to heads, machine work wise. I literally should have bought the Gen 2 heads. It's kind of one of them things where I didn't know no better, and they told me, I mean, they didn't tell me the total, but he was like, you know, for this price, you can go ahead and go with the Gen 2s, or you can supply your own heads. And I was just seeing the little picture. I did not understand that all the other stuff that's going into it. Going back, I would have just went with the freaking Gen 2 heads and been done with it. There's no way in the world I would have put Gen 1 heads back on it. But here we are. So, let's see here. That was explaining what the heads need. Measure mains for line hone. Deburr block. Exhaust guides. Lap valves. Lash and preload. So, I mean, for y'all that understand this stuff, this is a lot of details that TKM gives you. A lot of other YouTubers are not showing this stuff. They're just getting in there, getting their glamour shots on the dynos and posing with Kevin, posing with Sammy and all them, and they're moving on. So they're just trying to get the views. I'm trying to actually show my customers the real stuff, the actual bills, the invoices, the numbers, the real deal stuff, not the glamour. Good heads are on the rack in the head rack in the assembly room. First set of heads on the head cart and dyno. So again, this was all, you know, when I decided to go with another set of factory heads. I truly believe now that that was a mistake. I believe I saved some money. I do. I really do believe I may have saved $500 or less. But going back, I would not have, again, I would not have put these back on there. So here's where it says tap old squirters. Like I said, we never discussed this. I'm not upset about it. I believe on my invoice it was no money at all, like, to complain about. But it was unique because I didn't talk about this. But I do want TKM to build me a good product. So let's make that perfectly clear. I do want to have something I'm happy with, and I do lean on them to make the right calls, being I don't know everything. So if this was made in better judgment, then I'm okay with that. Like I said, I don't think I paid a ton of money for that, but it was just unexpected when I opened the box that I had my old squirter delete back. And it could have been a clearance issue. I'm not sure about that either. Rod bearings. Symbol remaining long block. Another thing I did not know is in here when I started reading this in detail, because I have read through this in detail. The pickup tube oil to pan clearance was wrong. Previous was over 500. They installed washers. So this is the type of stuff, y'all, that TKM saved me on that I didn't know any better. No windage tray. I was led to believe I didn't need a windage tray since I had an aftermarket oil pan. I thought I didn't need one from what I read on Google and read on other forums. Discovered a valve cover baffle delamination. So that's what that piece I just showed you that came out the valve cover. Installed the valve covers for shipping. The damper stud was torqued to. Installed the front cover. Second keyway. So yeah, I mean, this is just going over the put back together. The oil pump gears had light scarring, but were good. I mean, they even document that I was missing bolts, which everything's in there now. I knew where all that stuff was at. Symbol short block. So again, just tons of details, y'all. I mean, you just cannot go wrong with TKM. You're going to pay for it, but look at the detail and the work you're getting. I mean, this is just, there's no question about what you're paying for. And on your invoice, this is not the invoice, it's the work order. But this is everything that was done on the invoice, it breaks down everything that you paid. Like, everything's itemized. What you paid exactly for them to deburr the block. What you paid exactly for, you know, for them to clean something. What I paid to get these heads taken apart. That is one thing that moving forward I will discuss if we do another motor, is I don't want to necessarily bring them heads that are torn apart, because they have told me that if we have a failure, they can't tell me what went wrong, or they can't figure out what went wrong if the customer just brings a box full of parts. It's a lot harder than if they take it apart, they can find the failure and we can make adjustments or improve to improve our chances of not having that failure again. But I made the mistake, again, did not know, of taking them junkyard heads that were not taken apart. All they needed was the heads. I should have broke them down. I didn't think about getting charged. Oh, excuse me. Obviously, as a body shop, we charge. Some body shops get crazy and charge if they take your license plate off. But most shops charge for every bit of work they do, and you have to expect them to do that because they don't work for free. So they have to bill you for what it is. So if they took apart your junkyard heads, you're going to get billed for taking apart junkyard heads. I should have took them apart. I should have never took them a freaking set of heads that were fully assembled. Like, that was stupid on my part. But again, it won't happen again. This is, I learn as I go. So this is the game plan. They didn't remove right here the MMR coolant bypass off of the back. They said that that was not needed. That 2 mile level, we definitely did not need this bypass. The oil pressure sender issue that we had, we went over, was, you know, addressed here. Upgraded rods, aluminum or boost line. I know we went aluminum, so maybe we did not do boost line since that was an option. I know we have aluminum rods. And I think it's on my invoice exactly what I have, but I'm not going to show you my invoice. I'm going to show you my receipt for what I paid total, but I'm not going to show you everything itemized. So there you go. All right. And authorizations are blank because I had already authorized it in the past for them to work on my stuff, obviously. So I basically gave them the authorization from the start. All right, so now we're gonna I'm gonna show you the invoice, what I paid for the total job. I'm gonna show you the receipt for the total job. Again, I want to stress that I'm not comfortable right now putting out publicly what I paid itemized for all of these services. Let me show you what this mistake cost me. So this mistake cost me $8,316.36. This was due on 01/30/2023. This email was received Tuesday, January the 31st at 1:09 p.m. So it was billed to me on the 30th, not due. It just shows that. So there's what I paid this reversed oil line. This is what my mistake cost me. This is what we are currently trying to pay off. So with all that said, I hope that this kind of helps out people that wanted the backstory on everything and wanted to see all this detail and wanted to see where we're at. Like I said, the very first time the motor was put together, I supplied the parts and I paid between $8,000 and $9,000. This mistake cost me another over $8,000 for this mistake. So right there alone, I have gave TKM over $16,000 already on this Coyote. I've gave L&M race engines thousands of dollars in cams, custom cams, pistons, and all that. I think I'm about 6,000-ish, 7,000-ish in L&M race engines and all the stuff that I have. You gotta remember, it was springs, retainers, all that stuff that was originally ordered for the internals, and then assembly, plus all the other little odds and ends that I did that's not on here, such as the oil pan is not on here. That was a couple $100. That's not cheap. The intake manifold, it's like $1,000. It's not cheap. Throttle body, I think, was like under $300. Definitely wasn't cheap. V-band clamps. I mean, all this stuff adds up, not including the, what was that, $3,800 head unit over here. So I'm a lot of money, a lot of freaking money under this hood. Like I said, 30K all day and just the motor. Add everything else, honestly, we're probably knocking on 40K by the time you do lines, fittings, Procharger, radiator, intercooler, like just everything. Headers were, what I say, between 35 and 5,000, 38 and 5,000 was in there, and what I paid for the headers. We went over all this in the past. I mean, underneath this hood, there's a lot of freaking money. I'm not bragging. I'm just a normal average Joe that lives in the suburb HOA community, just like everybody else. I work hard for my money. I hustle to be able to pay for this stuff, and I share who I buy stuff from, how much I pay for stuff, how I make the money to pay for the stuff, and how you can make the same amount of money to pay for the stuff. I share all of that with y'all. I don't try to hide anything from y'all so that y'all can have the exact same stuff. We're gonna wrap this video up. Going to the dyno Wednesday. Hopefully y'all stick around for the video. Hopefully you watch this and you kind of maybe have a little bit more respect for, I guess, the whole process now. The trials and tribulations, the heartache, the stress, the adrenaline, the emotions, the emotional roller coasters, like everything. The first time this thing blew up, I was pretty much blacked out mentally. Like on the ride home, I was decomposing, and like Mike and Brandon and just everybody else was kind of telling me things that like, dude, how about when this happened or this happened? And I was like, that happened? And then when I was looking back at the video, it was kind of like flooding back of like 24 hours ago memories or emotions that you didn't even really soak in at the time because you were just so overwhelmed with 5 years of your life and all this money that you have put into this, which this is pennies in the bucket compared to somebody like Randy or other people that have tons of $100,000 motors. I know I'm not nothing. I know that I don't have, some big fancy pro mod, whatever, but it's still a lot of money that I don't have. I work hard for my stuff. So like, comment, subscribe, smash that notification button, smash the bell button. If you're new to the channel, stick around. I'm gonna continue showing y'all everything and trying to help you out in your progress and your product on your own vehicles. Thanks, y'all.